Uh-oh. 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 Hang on. Hi, my name's Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This thing is out here a little bit. Too close for me. There we go. Thanks to Phil McKnight for the Know Your Gear Special Edition t-shirt. I don't think he made a run of these. He should have done. Normally it's the musician with the guitar, electric guitar, and then an electric guitar. Oh, I'm going backwards because my camera is the other way around. Normally it's the musician, and then the electric guitar, and then the musician holding the electric guitar. Musician or person plus guitar equals musician. On my shirt, it's person plus electric acoustic. Person plus acoustic guitar equals musician. Very nice. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate it. And he did wear one of the Sandhole Sniffer shirts on a few of his shows as well, which was really awesome. That was very nice. I was just doing some shopping while I was waiting for my friends to arrive. Actually, I wasn't really, but sometimes I do like to go on the web and just see what's around, what's available. Because for so long, so much gear was unavailable, right? So I was just over here. I like to do this sometime from time to time. Like when I say time to time, I mean once an hour. Like I said, I'm not shopping right now. I like to search for something like Fender. And then you can do something like, you could do it by the newest arrival, so what they got the most recently. It's kind of fun. So look at those. That's usually cool stuff because it means it just came in and no one's bought it yet. I'm actually looking, I apologize. You have to forgive me here. And then these are nice. You ever tried these? Player Plus, they're pretty nice. And then the other thing is sometimes it's fun and dangerous to do price high to low. Just to see, to see what special editions they've got. Actually, this is interesting because the highest price one right now is $29. A few months ago or years ago, this would have been probably $5,000. In fact, I think the other week the highest one was $5,000 or $6,000. So does that mean, wow, this is actually really interesting stuff. Does this mean that the really high-end stuff is selling? It's really interesting. I'm sure I did this search like a few days ago, a week ago, and I did this, and there was a few real high-end, unless I was mistaken, of course, which is completely possible. But yeah, don't take that as a scientific evaluation. But yeah, it does seem that there's more stock around now, which is good. A piece of news for this week: the Mesa amps went up in price. So the Martin prices went up the start of the month, $200 each on the standard series, and they basically switched now to the Street Ebony fingerboards. And then with Mesa Boogie, yeah, $200 increase on these now. On every amp, I believe, and some cabs as well. Like this is crazy. This is crazy. I bought one of these years ago. It's a really great amp. I have the 25 now. I got it because it's so portable. And the black one is I can't get over the price. I'm not knocking it, things are going on, I get it, but I didn't realize this amp. Is this a special edition? Anyway, I'm just saying, before the pandemic, I think that was maybe 2,000. They had a price increase and another price increase. I mean, I think they were always around, I might be thinking wrong. I think 2,200, $24.99. You know what? I'm going to say this though. These amps are excellent. And the thing is, even if they were 2,000 before, which they may have been, I don't remember exact numbers. At 2,500, I still think that's a great amp. And I think that's an amp that sounds amazing and will last you the rest of your life. So I think if you're a musician, I presume if you're going to buy one of these, you might be a touring or professional musician, play out a lot, play in studios. That is totally worth the investment, in my opinion. So I know I was shocked at that price, and I am shocked at the price increase, as we all are, right, with everything. But I still think that it's totally worth it. Also, remember the cost of tubes has gone up as well. Everything's gone up. Transportation, I hear, has gone up a crazy amount as well. But I still think that the amp is worth it. And I think the only danger with gear is if you're going to buy it and flip it. Because if you're going to buy that and sell it because you want to try another amp. If you're trying gear at the moment, then I wouldn't buy that new. Because the problem is if you sell it, you're most likely going to lose money on it. Especially with whatever comes up next, right? What in the future, whatever the future holds, we don't know. But I would definitely say that. Hit reverb. Get one that's been used at gigs by a professional musician. Try it out. And then sell it and get your money back. Maybe make a small profit. Get another one. Get another one. Get another one. And then if you find the one, so say you eventually come to this amp and you think, I really like that amp. I'm really enjoying it. I've not looked anywhere else for 3 months. Everyone says it sounds great. I love it. Then you could turn around and say, you know what? I want to buy a brand new one. I mean, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you want the relict, the used one. But maybe you'll think, you know what? I want a really nice looking new one because I do weddings and things. I'm going to buy a brand new one, keep the used one as a backup, or sell it to invest into the new one, and that's that. All right, so that's just my thoughts on that. Anyway, right. So who is here today? Rosanna's here. Hi, Rosanna. Good evening, Aaron, everyone here in the chat. Happy Monday from a very hot Cornwall. Let's have a competition. How hot is it? How hot is it where you are in the world? Where I am right now, and it's got to be right now. There is a thunderstorm. It looks like the nighttime outside. Oh, actually, I think the sun is now coming out again. Before I went live, it looked like the sun was coming out. And now it's a thunderstorm apparently, and it's 77. So let's see if you can beat me. I've got 77, okay? David, how you doing, David? Good afternoon, Aaron, everyone in the chat. Good to see you. No, exactly. No, your sound hole. Why didn't he put that on there? Well, you know, he needs to keep the branding. I get it. That would be too much to ask for, in my opinion. Bernard's in Suffolk, UK. Patsy in Suffolk, UK. Very hot. I want numbers. 77 here. Alan, how you doing, Alan? Good to see you, buddy. Mario Di Costa. What's the best sustainer pedal for acoustic guitar? I can show it to you if you bear with me. 33. I need American. I need American numbers. I don't know what those C's mean anymore. I've been here too long. I have to get the phone out and convert it. Look. Hey Siri, convert 33 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit.
33 degrees Celsius is 91.4 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, you beat me. I just saw your Vic, thank you. Oh, custom shop is a separate category. Oh, okay. That explains it then. So Fender custom shop. Let's try that. Let me jump back over there again. Hang on. You are right. Well, you know, Vic, I guess that means you know the site, the Sweetwater site better than I do. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. All right. So again, I'm going to do solid body guitars because we don't look at bass guitars around here. And then I'm just kidding. Come on. And then we do. Now this is awesome. This I love, and it's not on every search. Have you seen? You see what that says on the screen? Lightest guitar. So that can be today's question I give to the viewers. How much does the weight of a guitar matter to you? Now with me, the acoustic guitar weight doesn't matter that much because they're always less than any electric guitar. But electric guitars, I like 7 pounds to 7, 10. I don't like it to hit 8. I've got a couple of guitars that are 8, just over 8, and they've got sentimental value, so I'll keep them. But I like to stay. I mean, if all my electrics were 7 pounds, I'd be very happy. But lately, it seems a lot of the guitars are pretty heavy, as you'll see now. So in fact, let's do that. Let's search by weight. And by the way, you know it's in stock if you see the bricks behind, because these are photos of the actual guitar. So that means that is an in-stock guitar right there. So what they're saying is then that this first one here is the lightest Fender custom shop. So let's take a look. 6 pounds and 6 ounces. Holy moly. Is it chambered? I don't think it is. I think it's because it's pine. But yeah, so that's how you do it. I love this feature. If you're looking for an electric guitar, this is really, really great. Like this, I love these guitars. I actually tried one of these. Great guitars, but the neck wasn't for me. But this, I'm sad it's not, because look, again, 7 pounds and 2 ounces. A Stratocaster that weighs 7 pounds and 2 ounces, for me, is like the perfect Strat. I love that. I love that. Love that. It's awesome. And then, of course, if you keep going down, you're going to get the ones that are really heavy. So let's try this one here. This looks really cool, but oh, that's not in stock. I guess they just sold it. I mean, that must have just been sold like a minute ago, right? I assume. Otherwise, they wouldn't have it on there. Let's see what this one is. Robin Trower. Oh, no, it's sold. Okay. Oh, okay, so I guess the one's in stock. Yeah, I'm contradicting myself. If there's a brick wall behind them, they're in stock. This one is in stock. But this is actually a Jazzmaster. But this is 8 pounds, 8 ounces. Now, that kind of makes sense because these have a larger body and just more stuff, right? So I kind of get it. But yeah, 8 pound, 8 ounces. 8 pound? 8 pound, 8 ounces for me is too heavy. I'm like, damn, it's a fly in here now. So anyway, that's how you do it. And if you just want to see stuff that's in stock, then you do this one here in stock. So lightest guitar in stock. That's what you need to do. There we go. So that's the lightest one, the first one I showed you. That's the lightest Strat that I showed you. And the lightest guitars in stock is... Well, actually, there's this one here. Why is this on here? That is in stock, but it doesn't say... That looks really nice, but the weight isn't on there. So that doesn't, I don't think that really helps. So let's say you want a heavy Stratocaster, right? You get this Jeff Beck. Let's see what that is. 8 pounds, 3 ounces. Not bad. And you know, a lot of the standard Stratocasters right now in the Professional 2 series that I really love are all over 8 pounds. Mine is actually in the, like 7 pounds 5. And all the ones I see now are 8 pounds and over. So I'm really glad that I got the one that I did. And I won't be letting that go anytime soon, that's for sure. Okay. Let me see. Rosin, how you doing? Good to see you here. 28 here and the sun going down. 74 in Oregon. Back to 90s tomorrow. 82. See, these numbers don't seem high to me. What's going on? Like... 90 in Kansas. I guess it's worse in England because a lot of people don't have air conditioning. Some people have air conditioning, but it's not the norm. Like here, I have one right here, of course, right? Without that, it'd be pretty miserable around here. 18 degrees in Sweden. I don't know. Why can't we just have one system here? It's so confusing. 100-degree forecast for tomorrow. There we go. Staley, how you doing? Good to see you. David has a G&L Legacy made with Polonia that weighs 6 pounds, 2 ounces. Well, here's another question on weight then. So my first question was, what is the perfect weight guitar for you? And does it matter to you? And my second question might be, is it possible... I was implying before about what's the heaviest guitar you would own. But let me flip that around and say, can a guitar be too light? Especially an electric guitar. Can it be? Is there any such thing as an electric guitar that's too light? That's what I need to know next. That's some good research right there. Okay. You know, it's been real tough this week. You know why? The thing about this week is I've gone to make a review of the Spark, right? The amp here, the Mini. And I was just like, getting my thoughts together. Like, okay, I'm going to make this review today. I wake up this morning and there's a firmware update this morning. It's not on, there's no email about it. It's not on their website. It's just, I happen to look. So I'm really checking to make sure I've got all the right information. And I happen to look and there's an update and it says slightly increases the headphone out volume. This was a major problem with this thing for me. So I applied the update And by the way, in the app, it doesn't tell you there's an update, which is really silly. You have to plug it in, and you have to download the latest firmware updater, which is annoying. And then it updated, and I did a comparison. So I tried it before, and at full volume, it was not quite loud enough. And then after, at like 3/4 volume, it was too loud. So it hasn't slightly increased that, it's fixed it, basically. So I was just thinking, and this happened with some other gear as well. I was just thinking today, like, it's so hard these days to review the digital gear, and I wonder if it's almost even worth it, because it feels like the minute you make the review, there's a firmware update. Now, that's not true with all products, because with some products, they don't update the firmware. All right, and that's bad. I don't like that. Like the Rodecaster Pro 2, there's been like 4 updates, 5 updates. There's a beta going. They're on the 3rd beta. Each beta has added new features. When that beta releases, there'll be all these new features and bug fixes. So I'm not running that now, but I can't wait to get that update. But they're like out of the gate saying, look, we are making these updates. We're working on it. And they make videos about it, what they're doing. They're really transparent and they're really productive and proactive. So that's one thing. But then a product like the Spark, where the big one only had like updates sporadically, you don't really know. I mean, you assume when the new one comes out, the Mini, that they're going to update it and they're going to make improvements and fix things in it. You assume that is going to be the case. But what if it isn't? That's just my point. Why would you keep something past the return period in case they don't fix the problem? We don't know. Why should we trust the company? We don't know the people of the company. We don't know what their intentions are. We don't know even what will happen tomorrow if they'll be able to update the product. But that is really good news. They have made the headphone output louder, which was a big thing for me. I wanted to have a louder volume so I could use it as like almost like a headphone amp almost. But the only thing is, I've come to figure out now what the issue is overall with the Spark family of amps that I don't like. It doesn't work for me. And I want to put that in my video. So yeah, and the issue that I have found, I don't think they can fix with firmware. I think it has to be a new model. But I could be wrong. Again, I could make that video and the day after they could release some big firmware update. It doesn't matter, because the worst come to worst, I could take the video down or do another video and say, oh, well, the day after I made my video, they happened to release an update, so here's an update to that video. I don't know. I guess I'm not complaining about making videos. I'm saying that firmware is so unpredictable, and it can take something from being unusable to incredible, or good to great, or I don't know if it can take something from great to bad. Maybe it can if they take features away for some reason. It has happened that like in the Variacs, there was a time that they changed the acoustic models in the Variacs, and people wanted the old models, so they would downgrade the firmware to the old firmware in order to get those models, but then they would lose access to the newer features that were really cool. And you also risk the fact that you might not be able to plug it in anymore because the firmware of the device you're plugging into doesn't recognize the old firmware anymore. It's really an interesting time, Okay, so let me just star this question. Sustain the pedal. Done that. Staley says it could be too light. I agree. I think there's a perfect weight. I think just under £7 for me is perfect. I think £8 for me is too much. I think £6 is too light. I'll say that, I guess. And the weird thing is, I never used to think about this stuff at all, and now it's actually a big factor in my purchasing decisions, or which guitar I sell now. What is the weight of the guitar? It's really important to me now. Isn't it interesting? Like years ago, I didn't even think about it. It was just a guitar, and I just played it. And that's a great thing, by the way. That is a great thing. But of course, over the years, as you look more at specs and things like that, and maybe as you get older, but maybe as you start to think more about your back and things like that, maybe these things do become a factor. I don't know. But that is important to me now. And it's interesting that on the Sweetwater site, the weights are listed and you can search in order of weight. But of course, I'm sure they do that as well, because what if a guitar shows up from a store that doesn't weigh the guitars and you pull it out and you think, this is just too heavy for me, and you want to return it, that's a whole unnecessary return for no reason, right? Hi, Jerry Cherry. Jerry. Rafa's in the house. Staley, I'm glad I'm not into electronics in some ways. £5 to £7 is what I'm looking for, but I'm thinking semi-hollow or hollow body even. For acoustic, I want £4 for a Dreadnought. Yeah, acoustic doesn't really bother me that much. I actually don't like acoustics that are too light. That 0018 that I bought used, for me, it just felt like it was going to break in my hand. You know, it's very light. As your back goes, so does the old heavy Les Paul. Oh, so we do that? I want to do that. Can we look for a Les Paul? That would be fun. Okay, let's do that. I want to find the heaviest guitar. So Les Paul. Okay. Can we search by weight? You see, what's up with this? All the guitars are weighed, so why can't I search by weight on the Les Pauls? What I'd have to do now is go to in stock and then click on every single one and figure out which one is the lightest. I got some great questions. It's going to be a good session today. I got some great questions. You're going to enjoy my answers, I'm sure. I'm feeling spicy today as well. This is the lightest one. Oh my goodness. How much does this weigh? What? No, that must be the hip. No, it's not. Sorry. I thought I was searching by weight. I'm not. You see what I mean? This thing looks stunning. The price is good because Gibson prices right now are really climbing. £10, 10 ounces. I would not buy that guitar. Put a 1 in the chat if you would buy that guitar. Put a 1 in the chat if you would buy a Les Paul that weighs £10 and 12 ounces. Let me know. And if you like Les Pauls that weigh over £10, and I apologize, I'm not trying to be rude. This is just all about me, right? I personally wouldn't feel comfortable playing that guitar for a 3-hour, 4-hour gig. But would you buy that guitar? I think this guitar looks amazing. I think the price is good, but I wouldn't buy it. See, isn't it? It's fascinating. I wouldn't buy it based on its weight. Is that a terrible thing? Am I a bad person? Would you? I want to know, is there anyone in the chat that would buy this guitar if they were looking for Les Paul? Don't worry about if you don't like Les Pauls or whatever. If you like Les Pauls, imagine you're a Les Paul lover right now, and you've got wedding gigs coming up. Would you buy this guitar that's £10 and 12 ounces? That's what I need to know. And all those guitars there's one that's £9, 4 ounces. And then while you're doing that, I'll see if there's something else that's any lighter. Let's search by price. Let's do high to low and then low to high. So, oh my goodness me, I had to take a deep breath there. $9,700. Oh, it's being inspected right now, so we can't see it. Okay. See, I don't understand why the weight is not on. Oh, yes. See, now it's there. Am I crazy? Am I crazy?
Am I crazy? What's going on?
How come that wasn't there on the other screen and now it's there? And I know someone in the chat is going to explain to me why it's there now. Okay, well, it's there now. So let's look at the lightest Les Paul. The lightest Les Paul. This is a custom shop. I mean, this isn't the style Les Paul that I would be shopping for, but let's check it out. £7, 6 ounces, you see? That's really good. That's really light. But I like the standard pickup configuration. So, the Tribute. The Tribute here is £7, 7 ounces. They have one at £7 and 7 ounces. So that's good. $1,300 for a USA-made Gibson Les Paul. And the reason it's so cheap is it's not got all the stuff on it. And it weighs £7 and 7 ounces. So there we go. That is a really good weight. I would be very happy with that guitar. Let's see if there's another one. that's a bit more expensive this time. Da, 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 da. You see, I like the look of this. So here we go. Here's a really expensive guitar. It's not the one we saw before, I don't think. But what is this? Is this the one we saw before? Yeah, you see, 10 grand, you know, £8, 6 ounces for a Les Paul is very good. Most Stratocasters are £8 and 6 ounces, right? So that's good. Then again, if you're spending 10 grand, you know, you should be able to get exactly what you want, right? I would say, maybe. Anyway, let's go back over here. Jerry plays an SG. Jerry plays an SG. So how much does your SG weigh, Jerry Cherry? I'm not feeling good, so spice it up. Hell no for a Les Paul at £10. Oh, weight is definitely a consideration. Okay, good. Rafa's got an update on his open mics and jams. I went to a jam night and I realized this last couple of months doing open mics did not help my improvising at all. How do I shift into learning licks, riffs and runs, or continue to strum songs and sing them so one day you get paid to get paid gigs? I could talk about that if you either super chat me or put a Q in front of it and ask it again. I know I'm a jerk, but I'm going to be the same to everybody. I don't mean I'm going to be a jerk to everybody. I mean, you have to put a Q if you ask a question that you want me to talk about in detail. Thank you, J.I. subscribing. Appreciate it. Awesome. I'm slow. Hang on. I'm slow. If I couldn't play the guitar I was shopping online, I would not buy it at that weight. I wouldn't buy any guitar at that weight. You know, where are you based, Staley? I'm not sure where you are. If you're in the US, I think you're in the USA, right? I mean, if you're in the USA and you've got a place like Sweetwater, you can return stuff. You know, I never say that people should buy stuff with the mindset they're gonna return it. But if you're shopping for a Les Paul, then that's the place you get it, because if it didn't work out for some reason, then they'll work with you to either return it or swap it for something else. And when you're spending that kind of money, you'd want to have that policy anyway, right? Of course. Mario says £10 is quite heavy. I wouldn't buy. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, I've got no problem with it. If people like heavy guitars, they like heavy guitars. I know what weight from playing so many guitars now. I know what weight works for me, and that is why I asked that question, just to see if people are the same, or if they have if they have a specific weight that they like, or if they just like a guitar that's not too heavy. I just find it interesting. Custom shops have the lightest sort. I think I saw on a normal Gibson. Yeah, well, you'd assume that the custom shop would get. Oh, thank you, Rafa. I appreciate it. Awesome. You would assume that the custom shops would get the lightest, best woods, lightest woods options, but not always. Sometimes really affordable guitars. I noticed I didn't say cheap there. Really affordable guitars can be really light and also be really great guitars. Of course, we know that too, right? That goes without saying. Now, Alan makes a really good point here. A very good strap can do wonders and make the weight question irrelevant. And I do agree with that. I do definitely agree with that. The strap you wear is very important. Like a thick padded strap can really make the guitar more comfortable, of course, because it helps it, helps to hold it well. John said, "Hey John, a friend had a Les Paul that was a gift from his wife. She recently died unexpectedly, and he sold the guitar because it was too heavy. He wants an SG." Now, a lot of people, condolences to your friend, but as well, of course. But a lot of people tell me the SGs are lighter than Les Pauls. I haven't played it. I don't think I've really played an SG. I've certainly never owned an SG. I may have played a few at stores occasionally, but we should look at SGs to see what the weight of those is right now. Oh, Staley in Seattle. Okay, so yeah. I mean. So you say you might buy the £10 guitar if you played it and loved everything about it. You see, for me, that weight would really be a deal breaker. And even if I loved everything about it, I feel like I would just want to get rid of it. I don't know. I do change my mind on stuff. I do sometimes think I hate something and then the next day wake up and realize it's not really a problem. It's just that day. But I think £10 is, you know. Okay. Rafa says, super chat, tell me the answer to guitar happiness. Okay. I'll tell you. Because you sent me a super chat and support my channel, Rafa, I'm going to tell you the answer. But I'm only going to say it one time. So listen carefully. All right? Stop what you're doing. I know what you're doing right now. I know you are... I won't say that. I know you are playing your guitar right now and practicing that riff. So put that down and put the phone to your ear and listen really carefully. Because I'm only going to say this one time. In fact, I'm only going to say this once on my channel ever. Because once I tell people the secret to guitar happiness, they won't need to come here anymore, right? Unless they want to hear me sing. So I'll tell you the answer right now. Are you ready? Here we go. So guitar, free of course. You got that, right? So, I mean, I probably just blew your minds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. Whew, okay. So, let's see here. Staley's laughing at Rafa. And Jerry said, I originally got my SG because I never had one. I owned a Les Paul prior to that. Nothing to do with weight, but it is much lighter. Yeah, I hear that. £6? I don't believe you, Jerry. We're going to have to go and do a gear search. Gibson SG. Because I want to know what these weigh. Oh, I just saw David come in the door. That's Heidelberg. Desktop. All right, so these are SGs, if you don't know. We're going to do lightest. I love this. So clever. I mean, it makes a lot of sense because they weigh the guitars anyway. Lightest guitar. Okay. So the lightest SG. Ready for this? Drum roll. I don't have one right now, but this is the lightest SG. £7? No, that's not right. Oh, wow. Yeah. £6, 1 ounce. What did Jerry say? £6? Yeah. So look at that. If you do like light guitars, and if you like guitars with the streaked ebony, you know, then that's a tribute. It's like the Les Paul tribute I showed you. This is the tribute guitar. So it's basically the American-made affordable version. Okay, let me look at one that I'd be interested in buying, like based on its looks and configuration and things like that. Let me see. So I like the classic kind of red one. I don't want the whammy. I don't want the P90s. I would probably want, I'm just looking here, either that 1800, let's say this one. I think I'd want this. So what does this weigh? Ah, that doesn't make sense. It's meant to be searching by weight. So let's try the other red one that they had there. This one. I don't like the grain as much, but here we go. So £6, 10 ounces. There is one that's £7.5, £7.2. So at this point, then all those, that's all fine to me. So at this point, I would then look at the grain. Which one do I like to look at the grain of the most? Maybe, and that's usually the one that's the heaviest, of course, when you do that. But I don't know, maybe this, maybe this one. I don't know. No, not that one. I think maybe this or the £6, 10 ounce. Let's see a close up. Yeah, maybe. I know, I'm looking at the wood grain. Don't hold it against me. Let's look at the heaviest one. I bet this always happens to me. I don't look at them and then the heaviest one is the one I think looks the best. Ready? I do like the look of that one. What is wrong with this? Anyway. But even if you do go for that one, £7, 5 ounces is still really good, right? So it's okay, but yeah, I guess if the weight is really important to you, you just go for the one that's £6, 10 ounces, and then you get this one right here. And then you can see everything about it, all angles. So that's cool. I bet that'd be a good rocking guitar. Yeah, very nice. Okay. Oh, my wire's sticking out. Okay, let's see here. So David makes a good point. He says, I have back problems, so I can't do anything over £8, and I prefer them closer to 7. My SG is very light. I've had several, all light. I have a handmade Les Paul that's £8, 2 ounces, no holes in the body. Yeah, so if you don't know this, because like some people watch this that don't play guitar, believe it or not, Les Pauls are just renowned for being really heavy guitars. So I said earlier that an £8 Strat for me is kind of too much. I like them to be 7.5, 7. But a Les Paul that's £8, 2 ounces is really light, because a Les Paul is traditionally £9 up to, we saw, £10, right? So there are some. When I went to Gibson Garage last summer, they do a custom shop there where you actually walk into a room and you pick out the exact piece of wood and the exact hardware, the exact pickups that you want in that custom built guitar. And when you do that, check this out, for $1,000 more, $1,000 more, they'll guarantee a piece of wood for the guitar, which is £8 or lighter. Now I'm going to say I think that's totally worth it, but it's interesting that they give you that option, right? And I think it's good that they do, because at the end of the day, if you're buying that kind of custom shop, which is going to be thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, you do not want to get that Les Paul that shows up and it's £10 if you're looking for a Les Paul that is on the lighter side. You either then buy used, you buy from a store. If you want custom, you have to get that guarantee, right? Because you don't know what, anything could show up. It could be £7.5, it could be £10.5. That's a big, £3 is a big difference, right? So I get it. Rosanna's laughing. Why are you laughing? What's up? I have a bunch of Parkers when I can't handle £7. So Parker Fly Guitars actually built, one of the owners of that company was Larry Fishman, our friend Larry Fishman. And they were very futuristic and very light guitars that are not available anymore. If you see them now, they're used. David said the answer to guitar happiness is more guitars. No, that's not true, David. Come on, don't encourage people. Lee says, "Oh, he heard my advice. Very good." He said, "Interesting. That was worth the price of admission." Well, that's good, because the price of admission was nothing. Well, he did himself out as a crazy jerk tonight. Why, you little... Oh, man. Now that we know the answer, you can sing. Oh, you want me to sing, John? Okay.
Fly me to the moon. Oh, I can't. I'll get a...
I'll get a copyright claim. Raphael, why are you all laughing? What's going on? I don't understand. I give you that serious advice and you're just laughing at me. This is very offensive. Okay, now we have the question from Raph. But I've got to now go back and do questions because I'm just talking randomly right now. David sent me pics to sayhi@aaronshawmusic.com. Okay. I see that, Patsy. I see there's a question. I'm going to come back to the questions once I've done my my stand-up thing and check my emails from David. What am I supposed to do, David? Just sit here and look at them? Or you want me to share it on the screen? Oh, you have a pair of scales. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to share this picture because just in case people don't know, you know, it seems silly and you're all going to laugh at me, but I didn't know for a long time how to weigh my guitars. So I bought a luggage weigh thing, like a handle with a hook on it. I would try to put a sling over the headstock of the guitar and hold it. This was ridiculous. I could have broken so many guitars and it never worked. It was never accurate anyway. And I was like, well, that must be how they weigh the guitars, right? And then I tried, because you can't use the regular scales, so they're too light. You can't use the kitchen scales. So yes, I think David actually told me that's how he does it. You need postal scales is what you need. postal scales. So this is his guitar. Thanks for sharing. That does look very cool, and it's in black too. I like that. Take that one away, and let me show the scale. So these are the postal scales. I was actually going to do a video about this just for people that don't know how to do it, how it's done. Yeah, I've got some like this. Mine are really cool as well because they have a platform, and then the readout is on a cable, so it's away from the scale itself. So when you weigh the guitar, it doesn't, or the item, whatever it is, like say it's a huge box with an amplifier in it, you can still read the display because it's on a cable. I think yours is as well from the looks of it. But yeah, there you go, 6 pounds, 15 ounces. So I've actually weighed all my guitars. I know the weight of all the guitars I have. So that, well, just to keep track of it really. Cool stuff. You know, when you spend your days weighing guitars, you know you've got a real problem and you should really play more guitar. Okay. Well, yeah, that's almost what I was doing. Yeah, I know. You know, you live and learn in this life, and then it's too late. You know that? All right. So now I've got that out of the way. I'm going to search by queue. So this is why the queue is important, because I can't scroll up and go through all the comments again. If I do that, I end up just sitting here like this for 10 minutes. Search, 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 search. So I can't do that. So what I do is I go to my search bar and I type Q, right? And that brings up all the questions of the day. So that's how I do it. Thank you. You see? The Q, that came up because I did a Q. Mario said, what is the best sustainer pedal for acoustic guitar? Now, when you say sustainer, what do you mean exactly? Oh. So, do you mean freeze pedal? A freeze pedal? Let me show you on the screen what I think you mean. The classic freeze pedal is by, I think, Electro Harmonics, isn't it? Let me see. I'm going to search by freeze pedal. Yes. So this is a classic freeze pedal right here. Now I actually have one of these. I've had it for a while. I think I got it used. I can't remember, but I've had one of these for a while. It does work well. I don't use it very often simply because it's a fairly big pedal. That's not life size, by the way, but it's, you know, it's a decent sized pedal for what it does. It holds a phrase basically. So you play a chord. In case you don't know, you play a chord on a guitar, you hit the button and it holds it. Okay, so I think I've done videos on these on things like the Helix on my channel and other things like that. But that's what that is, and the Kemper as well. But there you go, $150. You've got fast, slow latching and the level of the freeze once you've played the note. So think of a piano. Think of a piano sustain pedal. When you press the pedal and it holds the chord of the piano, right? That is what it's basically doing. And it's not exactly, but basically that's the effect that you get, all right? So this one is really good. If you have a pedal board, this is kind of like a classic one. And by the way, while I'm answering these questions, if you've got something you recommend, please put it in the comments, because I don't know, I haven't seen every pedal, you know. So the Freeze Electronics is good, and I have that one, so I could do something on this in the future, because I have this one. With acoustic, be careful. You're right. With some effects pedals, it's weird, but some effects pedals don't work so well with acoustic. I noticed with pitch shifting, doesn't work well with acoustic for me. I get lots of weird sounds that I don't get with my electric. With the Freeze, the acoustic is fine, I've found so far. So this is the classic one. Then there is this. I want to show you this one because this is actually like I just said, a piano sustain pedal. Let's search for sustain pedal. I can't think what it's called now. Help me out. This one. Now, if you come from a piano playing background, or if you want to go really out there, you can get this. This was at NAMM when I was there a few years ago. This is basically a piano sustain pedal. But what it is for guitar. Well, not just for guitar, it's for anything. So it's not, you know, not just for piano. In fact, it's not for piano. I guess you could use this on a keyboard, but it's not the same as an actual sustain pedal. It's just made to look like one. But it's really cool. It's very different. And it's silent and it's big. This could be a good one for acoustic because it's going to be not a switch, not a click when you press on it. You get that soft sustain effect when you press down. This one is 379. I'm just thinking to myself, I imagine some people might have both. I don't know. I wouldn't, but some people are into the real like soundscapey, trippy stuff, might have one of these and a freeze pedal. Right, so this sustain pedal. But this is a very unique pedal. This is a really unique one. So I actually have one of these as well, which I haven't reviewed yet. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that at some point soon. But I want to say, aside from that, if you buy something like an HX Stomp, right, that has a freeze effect in it as well, which is actually very good. And the Quad Cortex over here that I love, that has a really good sustain in it as well. So this is what I want to ask you as well. Would you spend $379 plus tax on this that does one thing, or buy a Quad Cortex at $1,800 that does this and everything else? Tuner, delay, reverb, chorus, distortion, EQ, audio interface, wah-wah, looper, sustainer. Now, for me, the answer is, do you have a pedal board? I have a pedal board, but I showed it to you before. It's really small. I can't put it on. I could put this beside the pedal board, and I could use it like that, I suppose. Yeah, and there's a new one that I haven't tried, which is from TC Helicon. I can't think what it's called now, but they released one as well. Infinite sustain, that's it. So again, 150. And look, this has got more features on it. It looks like that button might be soft touch. I don't know. I'm not sure. But this is stereo. This is the newest one, and I think this might be the one I might. I'm not going to say this is the one I recommend. I haven't tried it, but this looks interesting to me because TC Electronic are great. You've got a lot of options on it. It looks like it's stereo. Got return. No, sorry, it's not stereo. It's got a send and return and an in and out. So it's just got more features, and the price is decent. In fact, there's a $10 price drop right now. It's in stock. I think what I would do is I would like to try this one and then think of alternatives. If I had a pedal board, it's weird to say that when it's not one that I've tried, right? I just like the feature set on here, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. For me, the first one I showed you is just very, it's like the original one, but it's on the larger side. It doesn't do anything else. So, you know, and the sustain pedal is awesome, but it's very unique, and it's not, I don't think it's what you had in mind when you asked the question. So I would, if I was you right now and I need to get one, I would get this from Sweetwater because they have the great return policy, and I would try it with the acoustic and see how it goes. But I do have a lot of time for TC Electronic stuff. It's really good stuff. All right. But if you don't have a pedal board, I would seriously consider taking that money and putting it into something like a Quad Cortex, because then you get everything in a pedal that's not that much bigger, right? That's just my opinion. All right, let me come back here. Raf, just keep going at them. Just because one night was a bit frustrating doesn't mean next one will be. And don't forget to sing your heart out at jams too. Okay, I'm going to come to that topic soon. I got another question here. Have you tried every single good preamp pedals in the market? Why are you not using them anymore? That's a good question. I'm going to come to that question too. Game Changer Audio. Yeah, that's the piano one. Thank you, David. But okay, we've got loads of questions now. So let me come up here then and do Q again. Yeah, with the sustain pedals, I don't know. Actually, if I do make those reviews, they're on my list of reviews to do. If I do review those two, I might even be selling one of those. So I tell you what, if you're looking at getting the first one I showed you, then send me an email. If you want to buy it, I'll do the review this week and you can buy it off me. And the only reason I say that is because, again, I don't have I don't have a big pedal board, and I have the Quad Cortex that has one in there anyway. So just throwing that out there. Okay, next question. Well, Mario, I've just answered one of your questions, so I'm going to go on to the next person, all right? I'll save that for another time, and that's also a very big topic anyway. Okay, Rafa. And Rafa sent the super chat too, of course. So, I need water before I drink this one, before I do this one. On Thursdays, there is the open mic I've been going to, and this jam night I went last week. So Thursdays is open mic, and you went to a jam last week. Should I go to two weekly to each? Twice weekly to each. I don't need paid gigs really, so I am not sure. I'm not completely sure. Let's make sure I got this right. Thursdays I might have been going to, and this jam I went last week. Should I go? So are you? So just to clarify, are you going every Thursday to open mic and every week to the jam? So you're going twice a week to things, or are you going open mic every week and then? Oh yeah, you said weekly to each. So just correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. You're saying that you're going to a jam once a week and an open mic once a week every single week, right? Is that right? I don't need paid gigs really, so I'm not sure. You don't need paid gigs? Well, if you don't need paid gigs, then what does it matter? Yeah, let me go to the chat and see, catch up with you over there. I'm probably not reading it right. I'll just do some comments while you type that. TC Electronics subbing up Octave pedal should be able to do that. Oh, you're talking about one of the pedals. Okay, I'll get to that. And while I'm waiting for that, let me give a little advert to Wednesday. So Wednesday is Brandon from JBL. I'm happy to say, again, talking about firmware, they just released an update to the app. They've done several updates to the JBL app, and it is working very well. They have corrected all the niggles that I had with the interface, like some glitch, but basically visual glitches. I'm just going to show it to you. They haven't like completely redone it. It still looks basically the same. But before, I don't think I can, no, there's no demo mode, so I can't show you. But before, like the sliders and things were just not, they weren't very responsive. They were jumpy. And then in the EQ, things were jumping around and glitching out. It was just, you know, it was just, I didn't want to talk about the product too much until I saw that app updated. So it's updated now, so we're going to do an updated chat about the product. So now there's the Compact, which is going to get this app in a few months' time. There's the Mark II battery-powered option, and there's the JBL, PRX1, which is the big one, right? So we did those interviews last year to announce the announcement and talk about what they are. Now lots of people actually have played them or own them or seen them at Guitar Center. So we're going to talk about it in more detail, like what have you done? What were the issues? What's the feedback been from people? What plans you have for the future? Are there any current bugs that we should be aware of? Just things like that. And then people that have bought them can come here and actually ask questions directly to JBL and say, look, I would like to see this, or I found this and that. So a bit of customer research, a bit of Q&A, and just a hangout. So that's going to be Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So please come along if you can. Alan? Who's Alan? Are you talking to me? Oh, no, you're talking about Alan. Okay. Just keep going to them. Okay, you answered the question. Just keep going to the jams and open mics. Just because one night was a bit frustrating, it doesn't mean the next one will be. And don't forget to sing your heart out. Oh, I missed something here. Okay. Did you give more information? Oh, yeah, I think you mentioned it earlier on. Here we go. So I went to a jam night and I realized this last couple of months doing open mics did not help my improvising at all. Now do I shift into trying to learn licks, riffs and runs, or continue to strum songs and sing them so one day soon to get paid gigs? Well, so what you're saying is, And this happens to me. I think what you're saying is you've got your song, you've prepared your songs, and you're going to the open mic and you're performing those songs week after week, okay? And I don't know if this is exactly what you mean, but this is something that can happen when you do gigs as well as do open mics. You get your songs together and you sit and learn them, you figure them out, you chart them out, you get them really down, you practice them, go over them. Then you start to play them. For me, the first time I play a brand new song, I'm a little bit nervous. I don't really get nervous, but that might be the wrong word, but when I first play a new song, I'm thinking, well, this could go wrong because I don't know it inside out like I do Wonderwall, okay? So I often find as well the first time the song doesn't go that great because of that as well. And then after a few times, a few gigs, it's like, okay, I've got it now. It's great. The audience like it, so I'm going to keep it in the set, all right? And then I just keep playing it, and I don't play it differently. Sometimes I'll play around. Some songs I do improvise on with a looper. Some songs I change up sometimes, but some songs I just basically do the same thing. So are you saying that you feel like now you're going out and performing every week and you're just kind of going through the motions? That's probably not the right phrase, but you find that you're basically getting your guitar, going down the mic, playing the songs that you've learned and going home. You don't feel that you're progressing. You don't feel like you're working on improvising, learning new songs because you're going to open mics and jams. So I mean, that can happen. That is something that can happen. There's certainly a possibility to learn songs and really, get loads of new songs together and improve, and then end up just taking those same songs around the open mics. That's something that happened to me and has happened and does happen to me. I'll have a current set of songs that I use at my paid gigs, and then after a few months, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I always start with Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I haven't learned any new songs in 3 months. I think the thing about this is it's easy to coast, right? It's easy to get complacent. And I think it's easy to get complacent aside from open mics and gigs as well. It's easy to get complacent as a guitar player or a singer or a musician, because I feel like once you've got your open chords down and you've learned a bunch of songs, it's easy to just sit down and just play those songs. In fact, I mean, how often do you do that? I think people fall into that trap a lot. We come into the room, we grab the guitar, and what do we do? Oh, I want to just try this guitar out today and see what these new strings are like. What do? Well, you play a song you know really well, right? I think it's very easy not to push ourselves. I mean, it's something that I don't do enough either. Like in my spare time, I don't sit down and figure out the solo to some crazy metal song, right? I probably should do that. That would definitely help me grow as a player, even if I can't even do that solo. Just the fact that I'm pushing myself. I remember when I learned Freight Train, I couldn't do it at all. And I had to play it over and over and over and over and over and over again. So is it better to sit at home and play it over and over and over and over again, Freight Train, or to go to the open mic that night, have a few drinks and socialize and play Wonderwall? That's a personal choice, isn't it? I mean, some would say it's better to stay at home and keep improving because we need to be the best that we can. And some would say it's best to get out there and play and connect with people and network with people, because maybe that night was the night that you got in some big venue that hired you 3 times a week. They're really, like most of this stuff I talk about on the channel, there's no answer, right? I guess the word, like everything in life maybe, is balance, isn't it? Like, how about you go to open mic once a week and you have a goal of every week I'll have a new song, and the rest of the week I'll practice songs that I don't know, or have some kind of schedule. And again, it's very easy to say this, it's very hard, much harder to do it, but have a schedule where you sit down and for the first half an hour you play stuff you don't know. Like, you bring up a song on YouTube, you can't play it, and you practice that song. And then you play some songs you know and work on improving. Now record yourself, listen back. Can I do something there this week? Can I play it this week and do it a little bit better somehow? It's always great to record your performances as well. I wish I did that more. Like the Voice Live 3 lets you record the whole set. So the next day when you wake up and have your coffee, you could listen back to how it went and think, I keep messing up that riff. Keep messing it up. I'm going to go in there today and master that riff. So it's really, the answer really is both, isn't it? I am that kind of musician. When I was younger, I just wanted to go out and play. I just wanted to perform. really, once I got to the stage where I could perform a few songs or a lot of songs, I just wanted to gig. I just wanted to go to open mic, and I did the same. I used to go to open mic every week. I went to other open mics and jams. In fact, whenever there was an open mic around me, I would go to it. I just wanted to be out socializing, performing, and I was performing songs like Wonderwall and Talk Tonight and a few originals and Brown Eyed Girl, and I just wanted to be performing. So I get that. There's that side of it as well. Some people are really into the mastering techniques and don't want to go out and play open mic at all. They want to sit at home and just master the technique and put the video. I mean, now it's good. We can put the video on Instagram and people can appreciate it. Back in the day, they would just sit at home and master the guitar. Some people just want to be out performing. Some people go to karaoke. They just want to be on the mic. So I think you've got to be somewhere in the middle. It's no good like never improving. We have to improve, right? Especially in the beginning, like we have to listen back and get better and better to get to the standard of getting the paid gigs. But at the same time, networking is invaluable. Like networking, that one night you're out and you meet that person, that could be the person that you make a band with and become the next Oasis. That could be the venue owner that calls you 10 years later and says, I want to hire you 5 times a week at my new venue for really good money. So they're both really important. And to some people, they're more important than others. Some people really care about improving and some people don't. It sounds like you do care about improving. So you should try to do both if you've got time. And that's the thing when you get older, the time, isn't it? I will say this. I couldn't play any solos for a long time. And do you know what really got me playing solos? Was buying a loop pedal. That was it. Because when I started out in acoustic duos in London, the other guitarists, I'm not going to say they didn't let me take solos. I didn't know how to take solos. And I let them take solos because they were so good. All right, let me get out of that rabbit hole. They were so good, I just let them take the solos. So I didn't improve. The only way you improve is by doing something, right? Now, when I came to America and I bought that Voice Live Play acoustic pedal with a looper built in, my first thought was, I don't know about that. Like, what if it messes up on stage, or I'm not going to use that? All the harmonies, people will laugh at me if I use harmonies. I'll be like using backing tracks, right? No, people loved it. It was great. And then it was really funny. I went from looping one song in the beginning, like let's say I looped Layla in the whole set, and then I thought, oh, now I'm going to loop. Oh, thank you, Bernard Smith. I appreciate it. Then I was like, okay, I learned that. I looped that one, and then this one's an A. Oh, I can loop an A minor. So, and then the funny thing is now I don't think there's a single song that I play that I don't use the loop pedal on. I don't think there's a single song that I don't use a loop pedal on now. And the great thing about that is, well, A, it helps me get through a 4-hour show if I need to get through a 4-hour show. And B, it means that I'm practicing. Now, I'm not saying you should practice your solos at a gig, because when you hit a bad note at a gig, even non-musicians can be like, they're a bit amateur. So, I mean, of course I do it and we all do it. But what I mean is don't like never practice that song and just go out and just go for it and figure out, that fret on that string will work on this song. I'll start using that. No, that's not good. But if you figure out some licks and riffs with that looper, and then, so you've got some patterns already and know where the shapes and everything are. And then when you're open mic, like do a couple of songs that you know really well, that you don't loop, that you know will get the audience on your side. Obviously, that's the most important thing, right? And then use the looper on a song. But practice the song ahead of time, but then use that practice you did, but also improvise. And the only way you get better at improvising is to keep doing it. Keep learning new licks, like that. I learned that solo in Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, and there's a thing at the end of that solo, like diddly diddly diddly, and I love that. And now I use it. Now I've got that lick in my catalog, right? So that's how I did it, and I can only give you what my experience, right? So I would get a loop pedal. Why don't you get a play acoustic pedal? Get a play acoustic pedal. I know some people say to me, well, open mics, they don't like us plugging in pedals. We have to just plug in and go. Okay, well, there are battery-powered loop pedals like the TC Ditto X2. You can just plug your guitar in there and the cable on the other side and just give the host that cable, and that will go straight into their desk. And then they can put you straight in. So you could do that. Or you can get a Play Acoustic, and you can... No, actually, they might not like that because you've got to plug the mic into the XLR. So, okay. Depending on the place. If the place is really laid back and there's just you performing, I would get the Play Acoustic. In fact, I would get that anyway because it's a great pedal, my favorite pedal. But then if you can't do that, if the open mic is very much on the clock, which they should be, then use the Ditto X2 or something like that that's battery powered and start doing some live. Because the other thing is, there's nothing like playing and improvising in front of an audience. It's so different to playing at home because there is that voice in the back of your head like, oh, people are listening to you right now. It's always going to be there, right? So that's my advice on that. But should you keep going to them? Yes, if you like it. I tell you what, if you like going to those and you've got the time, you should go. Because it's great to meet people, it's great to network, it's great to perform in front of actual people. It's amazing. But if you find you've got no time to practice because you're going out too much to jams and open mics, then you should maybe just limit it and take a night off and use that night to practice. It's really about deciding what you need to do for yourself to improve, if you want to improve, and then do that. Does that work? Does that make sense? Alan said, yes, go to jam nights and have fun trying to learn improvisation. Yeah, same thing. But I think I would learn like Red House or Little Wing and then tell the band, I'm going to do Red House in A. And you've already done some research on it. I don't think if I'm new to, if my improvisation could be better, I don't know if I would just go to a jam and just jam. I mean, I guess you can do, right? I think it might be quite effective to like that. Choose a 3-chord song. So choose like all along the Watchtower. Everyone knows it. If they don't know it, it's easy to play. Figure out what key you sing it in. So I do it in B minor or maybe A minor. So okay, I'm going to do this in B minor. This are the chords. And I'm going to learn some of the original riffs. I'm going to figure out where all the patterns are. I'm going to figure out some ideas to a backing track on YouTube. And then go to the jam and say, can we do All Along the Watchtower in B minor? And if they don't know it, just say, well, B minor, A, G, A, back to B minor again. That could be really cool. And then also, if you've got that looper I mentioned, you can use the, oh, you've got a Helix, I forgot. There's a looper in the Helix. So if you've got the looper in the Helix, you can also practice at home with the backing tracks and the looper. And then you can start to incorporate that song into your solo gigs with the looper. Because I think once you start playing out doing solo gigs, you're going to want to use a looper anyway, because it just adds so much more to a performance, in my opinion. Some people will disagree, I'm sure, but it just adds, in my opinion, to the performances. All right, let me come back to comments because I'm behind. Muttley, thank you, Muttley. I'll come back to that. That's a hot topic right now. I'll come back to that in a second. Oh, he means every other week. Okay. Every other week on Thursdays, jams and open mics. Open mics seem to be the way to learn to solo gig. Jam nights improve my playing musicianship in the band. Yeah, I mean, jam nights are great. I miss them. I haven't been to one for so long. Because you're exactly right. You don't know who you're going to be playing with that night. Yeah, it's great to do both. But maybe, like I said, cross them into each other. So practice at home on electric and acoustic, so on the looper, so you can then play that song in the future solo, and you can play that song in the future in the band. Like, do both. Thanks for the insight. Oh, you're welcome. I appreciate you watching the videos. I actually have been meeting people and networking. It's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. You know, this is a true story. Two of the best gigs that got me through came from gigs that I thought were not worth it. Like, one gig paid very low money. I enjoyed it, but it paid very low money. And I met someone there that then got me into a teaching job that would lasted for years and was really, really helpful. And then another place, I was like, I don't want to play here. I don't want to play here. I'm in the corner. And people are knocking into the mic stand. At the end, the manager of a venue came in for a drink after work, and it led to one of the longest running, best gigs of my life. So that's networking, right? If I hadn't been in those places at that time, I would not have got those opportunities. So that is really, really important. Alan said, maybe you should go busking. It's not just for the money, it's good for the soul. You meet amazing people too. Yeah, I used to do that. When they started doing the official program on the London Underground subway, I was doing that. And it is really good for the soul. It's really good for character building. It's really good for, again, networking. And it's really good for stage fright, because it's one thing getting on a stage where people are expecting a musician, and it's one thing walking into a subway station and just or a park and just pulling out a guitar and playing a song, because you're really putting yourself out there, right? You're really like imposing in that space. And that's why I didn't really do it on the subway until then, because I was also afraid of being moved on by the police or whatever. So once they did the official program, I thought, this is great, because I can do it and I'm allowed to be there. And I actually really enjoyed that, because I didn't have that worry in the back of my mind about being moved on, wasting my time. I knew that I had a spot and that was my time and I could just perform. And yet I still felt a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but out of my comfort zone. Let's just say that. Because usually I was in pubs before that. So I did that quite a bit, and I enjoyed it. And I still get a little bit like that when I have to play outside. Say I get a gig in the park or so, outside somewhere for a wedding proposal or something. I still get a little bit like that, because it's like, well, I'm not supposed to be here, and there's all these people around that are not there for the music. I've just happened to have popped up out of nowhere, right? So it is good to do that. But for me, personally, that's another level up from playing in the bar. Because at least in the bar, a music venue, they're expecting you to be there. And I always think it's funny, though. I always think to myself, what are we doing when we play in a pub? It's amazing. We're walking into a pub. Let's say, okay, if it's a music venue, it's different. But let's say at this pub, there's people there that don't know they have live music, or it's the first week of live music. We're basically walking into a room, setting up equipment, and playing our music at people, random strangers, every night of the week. It's amazing when you think about it. You know, unless they all leave, of course, or say you suck. Which, did that happen to me this week? Oh no, someone said I sucked the other day, but she was just kidding, because I joked around about playing Country Roads when she said she doesn't like the song. So I spent the rest of the gig joking back at her to get my own back. By the way, banter's really good, but be careful with it, because you don't want to there's a fine line, right, with banter. Yeah, try busking. And you know what? Busking might end up being your thing. Like Damien Rice apparently was a busker around France before he went into his solo career. Okay. Oh, of course, Bemo's got it. You get better at guitar when you give me a thumbs up on my video. Thank you for wise words as always. Okay, so what's the excuse? You've already got your Helix there. There's a looper in it. There's distortion pedals, reverb and delay. You can add to your solos. You should be doing it now. Are you doing it now? Are you looping at the open mics now? Because that's great. Here's Real Ting. I've been talking about you, Real Ting. Improvising musically is like a language. You need to learn vocabulary, learn some phrases, memorize other people's scripts, and then eventually you can learn to go off script. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I wouldn't just go to a jam and just start playing. I would think to myself, I'm going to ask them to play Red House, and I'm going to learn the original. I'm going to learn all the shapes. I'm going to practice some of my own phrases. I'm going to watch someone play it on YouTube and copy some of their phrases. So I've got all this, what's the word? I was going to say ammunition, but you know what I mean. You've got all this library built up. Or as the Real Ting said, you've got this vocabulary ready to go. Oh, he agrees. Good. Here we go. Look. See, great minds think alike. A great way is to pick a popular tune and transcribe and learn several different solos that other people have done, and then start to learn to mix and match between them to see how they fit. Yeah. So basically, steal everyone else's ideas. First you imitate, then you emulate. Then you learn to innovate. Oh, wow. This is like a TED Talk now. Learn to take steps first before you learn to walk and then run and dance. Well, I can't dance. I can kind of run. I can walk. And, isn't it like, didn't Noel Gallagher say you imitate or genius steals, something like that? So I think he stopped to imitate. So that's fine, right? That sounds like I'm being mean to Noel Gallagher, but I'm not, because I'm a big Oasis fan. Oh, I don't know. If you want to know, you have to go back and watch. I can't remember right now. It was all good things. Ed Sheeran was also a busker. Yeah, sure. No, that was brute. I don't know. The story is he was a busker and played around London, but I never saw. When I lived in London, it was the time he was coming up, and I was on the scene a lot, and I never heard anyone mention Ed Sheeran to me. So I'm not saying that I was like in the know with everyone, but I just thought I would have heard Ed Sheeran from someone. And I'm not saying it's a big conspiracy, but with some of this stuff, there is some stuff like that, right? Who was the artist that suddenly went global? Like Justin Bieber, and there was some artists where they said, well, they were posting YouTube videos and things like that, and then they became famous, and it turned out to be a story. So I'm not saying that Ed Sheeran's was a story. I'm not saying that he wasn't a busker. I'm sure he did do busking, but let's just say I'm surprised that I lived because don't forget, I grew up in the same county as him. I played gigs in that county. And I lived in London and was on the music circuit fairly regularly. I was working as a musician. I knew a lot of musicians. And I never heard the name Ed Sheeran until he became famous. So I'm not saying it's not possible our paths just didn't meet, of course. But I don't know. I've always wondered about those things. And you know what? I'm not knocking it at all. It's totally fine, because we do need stories too. Right, we all need a story. I realized when I was like in my early 20s, like no one wants to hear. Hi, my name's Aaron Short, and I'm from Suffolk in England, and I play weddings and pubs and clubs, and I've got this album of my own songs, and they're about feeding the cat and walking the dog. Boring, right? Of course, we know that, especially. Maybe not so much these days. I don't know about these days. These days, I feel like people are okay with saying, yeah, I mean, heck, now people will watch the cats and give you 1 million views. So it's all, maybe it's all turned around. I don't know. But back in the day, it was like you had to have that story, right? Like, where's the band from? Why did you make the band? What's that song about? Well, it's about, it's showbiz, right? Nowadays, I feel like right now you can literally just play a song and people watch that and like the song and you become famous. And I think that's a great thing as well. But in the entertainment industry, which this is, I suppose, then the stories help, right? So. Oh, okay. Maybe you're going to prove me wrong. I shared stages with him a few times on London multi-bill gigs. Oh, he was always fantastic. Okay, so maybe this is the answer. Were these gigs before he was famous? And do you still have his phone number? Because I want to get him on here. No, I'm just kidding. But was that before he was famous, or like after he had released a single? That's what I want to know. I want to know what really happened in the early years. I don't know how to use a looper when the songs is more than 4 chords throughout. How to set up the bridge and chorus and such. Well, that's kind of another level of looping, so don't worry about that right now. But start with those 4 chord songs. 3 chord songs are even better. 2 chord songs are even better than that. And a song with 1 chord is my favorite song. My favorite songs have one chord, and they're fantastic because they loop themselves, you know. So, in fact, when it's the one chord song, every loop just sounds like the chord you were playing. So it's like an automatic guitar, right? But no, start with the songs that just use like this very simple repetitive chord progressions. Save Tonight, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Steal My Kisses. I mean, Ain't No Sunshine, you have to stop in the middle for the middle section, then restart it, but that's fine as well. I guess actually with most songs you want to stop them anyway, don't you? Because otherwise it'll get boring to have the same loop going through. But yeah, start with the songs that do have just one chord progression. That's one less thing to worry about. Then you can focus on getting the loop accurate and then what you're going to play over the top of it. Oh, okay. Before he was famous, he was always a super nice guy too. Great songs and good stage presence. So let's ask the real thing then, because he has the biggest insight into this. Do you think Ed Sheeran's backstory is true? Do you think that he was busking and sleeping on couches and playing the London circuit and traveling to... Because I think he traveled to LA and stayed with some celebrities as well, right? He got very friendly with a lot of celebrities. Do you think that is a true story? My question. Even if you don't like his songs, he had a great voice and was just really likable. Well, no, I'm jealous because you got to meet Ed Sheeran. That's not fair. Let me just make sure I got all my questions done today. I might have to delay some to next time. I apologize. But like I said, if you send a super chat, I will prioritize a question, just so you know for the future. I'll put that on that day. But if we get too many, then you know I might have to cut it short. Let's see. I might get one more here. Okay. You've tried every single good preamp in the market, but you're not using them anymore. Why? Because I don't need to. Well, no, I am. I am using them. I'm mostly using the Play Acoustic pedal, and that is a preamp, right? A Play Acoustic or a Helix, whatever, that is still a preamp. All right? So I am using a preamp, and I don't need another one. The other thing to remember is, like, a guitar that has a active pickup in it. A guitar that has an active pickup in the guitar. That is a preamp. So you've technically already got a preamp in your guitar anyway. And then depending on what you plug into next may have its own preamp as well. So a mixing desk, for example, has preamps, right? So you plug into the console and there's a preamp there. So you may find you already have two preamps. And in that case, maybe you don't need another preamp. Maybe you need a compressor or an EQ or something like that. So I think that's my answer. Why? But maybe you're saying, why not use those specific preamps that I reviewed? Well, some of them, I mean, like the Voice Print DI, I feel I only need that on certain pickups. So if I'm not using those pickups, I wouldn't use it. I also think that works good for the live streaming. I don't need that sound at a gig necessarily. I certainly don't need that sound on like the Cole Clark, so I don't use it for that reason. Well, actually, I might try it because when I use the in-ears, I might like that. But that's basically it. Basically, the answer is that the guitar I'm using at the moment, which is the Cole Clark with their latest preamp, again, preamp in the guitar, into the Play Acoustic, which is a preamp with mixing on it, into the speaker, for me is enough. I don't need more than that. So that's the answer. Now, if I do need more than that, I would use them. So I've still got the Sun Audio stuff, and I used it the other day, and I used it because it has a high-pass filter on the pedal itself. And I needed a high-pass filter. So I did use that the other day for that specific purpose. And I would also use that if I had a passive pickup, because a passive pickup needs to see a preamp. Sometimes you can go straight into the desk. Sometimes you can go straight into your pedal. But if your pedal doesn't have the preamp, the impedance and the preamp it's looking for, you might want to use a different preamp to go into it. So in that case, I would use something like the Sun Audio or Aura or something like that, and then go into the Play Acoustic. But then I've got more pedals to carry around as well. And for me, that's really what it comes down to, having less gear. But I don't mean in general. I mean having less gear at those gigs I'm doing right now. It's very important I don't have too much stuff with me. So I guess that's my answer. It depends on the guitar. It depends on the preamp system in your guitar as to what you're going to, and also your personal choices as well. So if you have a preamp that sounds and has sounds how you want and has EQ you want and phase and everything and a notch filter, and you send that out, it's got a strong signal into the next pedal, you might find yourself thinking, I don't need another preamp. I've got this. This is all working fine. But if you have a passive pickup like the K&K and you're going to plug that into a mixer, and that mixer doesn't like that pickup because it hasn't got the right impedance on it or doesn't have the right notch that you want for that particular guitar, then I would recommend a preamp like the Sun Audio or similar, where you can actually do a bit of pre-shaping before you send it to the desk. So maybe you can cut a bit of bass, boost a bit of treble, notch out that feedback frequency, send that to the desk, and then they can do like the global EQ, if you like, on that next channel strip of EQ. They can think, oh, that sounds really good what they've sent me, but in this room, we need a bit more of 2K, a bit more 3K, like that. So that's my, does it make sense? I hope it makes sense. That's my answer. Mostly because I don't need them on the particular guitar I'm using right now, and I want to keep the gear to a minimum when I'm playing and taking the subway. I guess that's the answer. Where was I? Oh. I often run the Play Acoustics straight into PA speakers now with no other mixer. There is a problem though. There is a slight problem with the Play Acoustics straight into PA speakers. For me, the Play Acoustic outputs a mic level signal and not a line level signal. And I find that very strange. I assume they did it because they think it's for singers, plugging a mic into it. It's going to, it's going in line with the singer's chain. So normally the mic would go straight into the desk on the mic channel. And because we're going to this pedal, the output should be mic to go into the mic channel, right? I think that's why they did it. But I always wish that output of the Play Acoustic was a line level, because the line level would be better for going into PA speakers and the wall at the venue I play at. They have like the plug in the wall. I feel like that would be better for me because I get that signal. And we both have the same speakers as well. The Q. In fact, he has the ones I used to own. The QSC speakers. On the back, you've got line and mic and line. So I have to plug the Play Acoustic into the one that's mic and line and set it to mic to get a nice loud signal. That means the other input cannot be used for a microphone because it's only line level and not mic. So I can't just like plug someone in there and have them sing along or do an announcement. So I found that to be a problem. And even last night, I'm using the PRX1, which switches from line to mic to match the levels automatically. And I noticed there was no signal until I got to like, halfway up, and then it kicked in. It kicked in because it was switching from line to mic halfway through. So I in that respect, I do need a preamp, I guess, with that, like a mixer, because it doesn't have that. The Voice Live 3 Extreme has the option of outputting mic or line. But again, it depends on the gear you own. So Real Ting is saying they have a mic line switch anyway. Yeah, so if you never plug into the other input and you just need your Play Acoustic into your speaker, it doesn't matter because you just plug into that and select mic, right? I get it. But I sometimes wish that I could plug a mic in the other one so I don't need a mixer and someone could talk or something like that. So I just wish it had the option on that pedal. But again, that pedal is a stripped down version of the Voice Live 3 Extreme, and that's why they left that off there to make you buy the Voice Live 3 Extreme, of course. All right, hang on. I want to see if there's any, I think I got one more here. Is there a pedal that can produce the bass tones from acoustic guitar? Well, let's let Real Ting answer that because he's doing that himself. I tried it with the new Boss Octave pedal. It's meant to like figure out the note and play the lowest note, and it didn't work well. It didn't track well for me. So I wish it had. I had these dreams of like having the bass, automatic bass. It didn't work like that. If you want to just do the lowest note, something like a Helix or a Kemper or a Quad Cortex, most of them have an octave below. Again, the Voice Live 3 Extreme has that effect as well. And there's many standalone pedals that have that as well. But if Real Ting is there, maybe he'll answer that one. There's a lot of pedals that do that. They basically take the note and they lower it down an octave or up an octave, whatever you want to do. A guitar that does it very well is the Variax. All right, so the Variax does have an acoustic guitar setting on the electric ones, and the lowest note can be dropped an octave, but that's an electric guitar, and I think you want an acoustic guitar. But yeah, it's cool. It's really cool to loop something and then play the bass over it. Like I said, with the Boss one, you can set it. I think that's the one that Real Ting has. You can set it so only the lowest two strings have that effect. So if you do finger style, it's really nice because the lowest notes are down the octave. The newest one, like I said, has a setting that is supposed to let you basically strum and it only plays that lowest note. So it's almost like you've got a bass player. And it does work. It does work. It's just for me, I mean, I got it when it first came out. I don't know if they've done an update or anything, but I think with that, I want it to work more smoothly than it did. Let's just say it like that, I guess. Do you still use Song 1? Is it worth getting? Oh, you mean On Song? Do you mean On Song? Yes, I use it at every gig. They've just released 2022, and there's a big hoo-ha about it because there's a lot of bugs because it's a new version. But the answer is just to stay on 2020 until next year when 2022 is good to go and everyone's using it, and then switch over. People are changing too quick. I know I always update all my stuff on day one and sometimes try betas, but I wouldn't try betas of things like On Song because I'm using it at pay. The last thing you want in a wedding is for the song to crash or close on you while you're singing the first dance. You do not do that, right? And who cares about the latest features of a lyrics reader anyway? Now that's mean. There are some features I want to see, but I just wouldn't, even the features I want to see, I would not update my main device with On Song when I use it at all my shows. No way. Oh, good. That was the last question. Let me come back to the chat. Let's go to the end. Okay. Real Ting. You can use a submarine pickup to do just some of the lower strings. So there's a special pickup you can get that will just do those strings, but I guess that's going to be, modifying your guitar. There are a few options for the bass thing. Use a Godin synth access, which lets you split the strings by string. Oh, so you use the OC20 with the Godin. Okay. Yes, you can buy a Godin acoustic that has synth access. I heard they were discontinuing those, but you could look for a used one. That could be a good idea. If you really want to get into the bass thing, look for a Godin with synth access. It must have synth access. A lot of them were nylon, some of them are steel. And then that's another option. You're right, there's a lot of options to do that. Most people I know use the Boss. I will throw that in there again. The Voice Live 3 Extreme does have the octave down. The HX Stomp has the octave down. If you want to just get like a small multi-effects, the HX Stomp has an octave down and all the other stuff that we've talked about today as well. So that's worth considering. I'd like so much to be able to jam online in real time with a few people. I've seen one software there. It's really expensive. I've tried them all. The other week, I tried all the software ones, and they were all totally awful. So don't even bother. And there are some ones that use hardware, but I haven't tried those yet. But then you've got to buy the hardware. I'm hoping to try those at some point. The software ones are just, oh man, I wasted a few hours on that. There was one night I went into, I think, Jamulus. There was one night I went into one of those at the start of the middle of lockdown, and it was so funny because it was kind of working. It was kind of working, and there was a British guy in there, and he was the singer, and they were all jamming, and it sounded okay. I guess they were all in England, so it was okay. And then I tried to jam. I'm in America, so it was just awful. And I'll never forget this. It was like being in high school. I left the room, the virtual room, and I went to another room, and I didn't type my screen name yet, and he was talking to the people in that room about me, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I just came from this room. This guy was the latency was awful. He was terrible. And I was like, "Hi." I said, hi, buddy. And he's like, oh, Aaron. Oh, yeah, you want to jam with us? Okay, let's do a blues in A. Okay. So that's the problem. Like, the further away you are physically from someone, the worse the latency is going to be. And it's never going to be zero latency. But I think the hardware versions, the hardware systems are going to be the best bet, you know. But then you've got to spend the money on each one. And some of them have a subscription, which is not great. Eddie, is recording one owns music in 24-bit WAV a go or no go? At least 32-bit. I don't know. I'm not too, you know, it really depends what you're going to do with it, doesn't it? And your personal preferences. I just use the standard settings in Logic when I record. If I was going to record a new album in a big studio, I'm sure they might choose the higher bit rate. The last time I made an album that we were pressing CDs, so I was checking like what's the best bit rate for a CD. I remember those days there. What I would do is I would, you know, the thing now is we're all uploading to streaming platforms, right? Figure out what streaming platform you're going to use, or do some research on like Apple Music. Figure out what they want to receive. I would probably do that. Is that a good idea? Like, if you know you're making an album that's going to go to Apple Music, do some research now to see what kind of files they recommend. Because they do publish that information. I did that when we released the cover of The Gambler. I had it mastered. I remember I had to get them to remaster it because I read that it was better to do a different, some different sample rate or not sample rate, but a different bit rate or something like that for streaming. It's like there's a special setting for streaming. I mean, I don't know. I think that was a bit like, really? I mean, doesn't, you know, I don't want to say it all sounds the same, but you know, my point is the platforms have guidelines and they do get updated and changed from time to time. So I would think, like, what am I doing with this? I mean, if you're pressing it to vinyl, if you're doing it on CD, a lot of people still do that, then figure out what's the best for that platform. If you're going online, figure out what are they recommending on those platforms. But I mean, I just do the standard setting. 24-bit. Yeah, 24-bit 44.1. I mean, again, feel free to go to tell me in the chat what you think, but I don't think it's worth losing sleep over. It's funny because I did lose sleep over that situation that I had with that song. It's like, I must get it encoded exactly right or it won't sound as good. I mean, in hindsight, I don't think I can hear the difference between that and the version on YouTube and the version on my computer and the old master. I can't hear a difference. So, but some streaming platforms do. I think they said it might like load faster or something. So that's important. So I would definitely do a bit of research on that, depending on where you're going to be putting it. But I normally just record in 44.1. You know, 40. They say 48 is better for what, DVD. I mean, I'm talking about CDs and DVDs here. We don't even use them anymore. So I don't know. One thing that I need to figure out, I don't understand this. That's really bugging me. How come? And I hope someone here knows the answer to this question. This is my question for the day. If I connect an audio interface and select 44.1 and load a guitar plugin, it will come up and say the reported latency of this plugin through this interface at 44.1 is, let's say, 5, right? Okay, great. Then you change it to 48, which it's going to take more processing power, right? And it says the reported latency of this, you would assume would say 6, so it would get longer because it's doing more work. But no, it says 4. Oh, okay. And then let's say that interface does 96. I mean, no one records at 96, right? But let's do 96. You're thinking to yourself, this is really taxing my computer. This is going to make the latency even longer. No, your latency is now 2. So I don't understand. I really want to understand this. Why does making the sample rate of the interface higher, of the project higher, reduce the latency of your guitar processor plugin? Does anyone know the answer? Because that is a very important question right now. I mean, yeah, I think you'll be fine with the standard settings, Eddie. If it sounds good, it is good. But if you are uploading to a special platform, some platforms will distribute the music for you and they want a certain file, certain bit rate and things like that. So maybe do a bit of research before you continue or start the project just to get an idea. But it's one of those questions, like, there's not really a correct answer, right? It's like a preference thing. I don't think either way you'll be disappointed at the end. But yeah, if you're going to be recording music to put out there, it's always worth doing a bit of research, because at least then you know that what you've done is, you're happy with that decision, right? 44.1 and 24-bit, yeah, I'm happy with that. So I'll just sit here and see if I get an answer to my question. If I don't get one, I'm going to go. So once more, please join me on Wednesday. Wednesday is noon EST. My good buddy. Well, is he my good buddy? I've known him for a long time. Brandon at JBL. He's been on the channel at least 3 times now, if not 4. And we're going to talk about the PRX1, talk about their PA systems, how they started out, how they've been received, what they've done to improve them, and what's going to be happening next. So you get a little inside view there. And if you've got any friends that own JBL products, tell them to come along, because I always get questions on my channel about the speakers. And I'm like, well, if only you'd come to that chat, you could have asked Brandon yourself your question. Beamer said Kooky might know the answer to your question about that. It's a good point. I haven't spoken to him for a while. I might ask him. I'm really bugged. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. And then the thing is, if you've got a lot of interfaces are locked at 48, and it's okay. Like, I've got the Scarlett and it's locked at 48, and I can get that down to be very very usable. I don't notice latency. The Rodecaster is locked at 48, the same reported latency, but it has more latency. Actually, I did a test today. Any Rodecaster Pro fans out there? Probably not, but I did a test today and it added 10 seconds of latency. And I can feel that, because then you're getting to a lot, like 50 rather than 40, whatever, total round trip latency. But if you've got a device like the high-end things like the Apollos and that, you can set those to 92? And then you get like 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds. It's crazy. Can you say hello to my little birds, Emmett and Todd? They dig your accent. Sure, Quentin. Hi, Emmett and Todd from the United Kingdom. No, we're not really in the United Kingdom. Hey, how you doing? It's been a long time. Just passing by, saw you were live. That's the thing about going live. The longest you stay online, the more people will come by, because there's a little thing flashing on the app saying that you're live right now. I hope you're well. Alan, we can't understand everything. Today I learned the complete memory on the computer on Apollo 11 moon landing was as big as half an average text message. Oh, Alan, I don't mind, I don't mind that I don't know. In fact, maybe don't tell me the answer. Maybe it's good to not know the answer to some things in life. I just know that if I set that number high, I'm happy. If I set that number low, I'm unhappy. Well, no, I'm happy depending on the interface. How about that? That's a good question, right? All right, I could sit on here all night. I don't want to go out because of the weather. Let me check the weather. If it's not raining, I'm going to go out and go for a walk. Let's see. Mostly cloudy. Severe thunderstorm watch. It's going to rain again at 6. Oh well, I guess I'm going to be stuck here. But anyway, I hope that was helpful today. If you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. I really appreciate it. Play us out, says Eddie. Okay, sure, I will do. Subscribe, ring the bell. Come along Wednesday if you can, even if you're not into PA systems. I'd appreciate you being here. It'd be great. It'd mean a lot to me. Wednesday at noon for the live interview with JBL. It'd be good to see you here. And then make sure you've got notifications turned on in case I post a video this week. Will I review the Spark amp? I'm gonna decide this week if it's staying or going. Will I review it? Stay tuned to find out. I'll play you out, Eddie. Here we go. That's what you meant, right? Take care, everyone. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the super chat. If I was helpful today, I'll put my Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen right now. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.